A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajeem. Bismillahir rahmanir rahim. Rabbi shrah li sadri wa yassir li amri wahlul 'uqdatan min lisani yafqahu qawli. Juz 15, Surah Bani Israel. Verse 98. Thus shall they be rewarded because they rejected our revelations and said, when we are reduced to bones and decayed particles, shall we really be raised to life in a new creation? 99. Can they not see that Allah, who has created the heavens and the earth, has power to create people like them? He has set a deadline for their lives. There is no doubt about it, yet the wrongdoers refuse to do anything except deny. Verse 100. Say to them, even if you had all the treasures of my Rabb's blessings at your disposal, you would still hold them back for fear of spending. Man is ever so stingy. 101. To Musa alayhi salam we gave 9 clear signs. Ask the children of Israel now when he came to them and Pharaoh told him, O Musa, I think that you are bewitched. Now Hazrat Abdullah bin Abbas Razi Allah Ta'ala anhu has enumerated these miracles as follows. Number 1, the stick of Musa alayhi salam that turned into a snake. Number 2, his hand that emitted light when placed and taken out of his armpit. Verse 3, the removal of stammering from his tongue. Number 4, the splitting of water barrier in 2 sections to give a safe passage to the Bani Israel, and they crossed it. Number 5, the sending of the punishment of locusts in unusual circumstances. Number 6, the sending of storm. Number 7, the clothes on their bodies were infested with countless lice and they had no escape from it. And number 8, the punishment of frogs was released on them when frogs would appear in anything they ate or drank. And number 9, the punishment of blood was sent that filled every utensil and mingled with whatever they ate or drank. 102. Musa alayhi salam replied, you know it very well that no one except the Rabb of heavens and the earth has sent down these signs as eye-openers, and O Pharaoh, surely I think that you are doomed. 103. So Pharaoh resolved to remove Musa and the Israelites from the face of the earth, but we drowned him and all who were with him. 104. Thereafter we said to the children of Israel, settle down in the land, and when the promise of the hereafter comes to be fulfilled, we shall assemble you all together. 105. We have revealed the Quran in truth, and with the truth it has come down, and O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, we have sent you only to give good news to the believers and warn the unbelievers. This means that this Quran is pure, nothing has been mixed or added in it. 106. We have divided the Quran into sections so that you may recite to people with deliberation, and we have sent it down in gradual revelations to suit particular occasions. 107. Say, whether you believe in it or not, it is true that those who were endowed with knowledge before its revelations prostrate themselves when it is recited. 108. And say, glory be to our Rabb. Our Rabb's promise has been fulfilled. 109. They fall down upon their faces weeping as they listen, and this increases their reverence. 110. O Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, say to them, whether you call him Allah or call him Rahman, it is all the same by whichever name you call him, because for him are all the fine names. Offer your salah neither in too loud a voice nor in too low a voice, but seek a middle course. The background of the verse is that the mushrikeen once heard the Prophet ﷺ saying Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim, and because they were not familiar with the attributes of Allah, they said that who is this Rahman and who is Rahim? They are told here that all these are the names of Allah. And as for the second part of the verse, which says that neither keep your voice too low nor too loud while praying, and take the middle course, the background of this part is that says that once Prophet ﷺ saw Hazrat Abu Bakr Siddiq reciting Salah in a lowered voice. So he told him to slightly raise the voice. And when he saw Hazrat Umar Raziyallahu Ta'ala anhu reciting in a loud voice, he told him to lower his voice. This voice is like you are reading something and it is just audible to your own self. That is the middle course. Verse 111, and say, praise be to Allah, the one who has begotten no son and who has no partner in his kingdom, nor he is helpless to need a protector, and glorify his greatness in the best possible way. Surah Al-Kahf, verse 1. Praise be to Allah who has revealed the book to his servant and did not make it complicated. Verse 2. It is straightforward so that he may warn about the terrible punishment for the unbelievers from him and give good news to the believers who do good deeds, that they shall have a goodly reward. Verse 3. Which they will enjoy forever. Verse 4. Further, to warn those who say Allah has begotten a son. 5. They have no knowledge about it, nor do their forefathers. This is a monstrous word that comes from their mouth. They speak nothing but a lie. 6. O Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you probably will kill yourself in grief over them if they do not believe in this message. Verse 7. We have decked the earth with all kinds of ornaments to test the people and see which of them do the best deeds. This means that Allah has made this world full of distractions and amusements to test that who focuses on Allah and who focuses on the Akhirah, living amidst those attractions, and does deeds for it in the most beautiful way. Verse 8. In the end we shall reduce all that is on it to a barren wasteland. This means that this house of deception, dunya, will not last. Verse 9. Do you think that the companions of the cave and of Ar-Rakim were among our wonderful signs? Now, why these people are called Ashab or Ashab al-Rakim? Because we are told that their names were written on a tablet by the king. Verse 10. When those young men took refuge in the cave, they said, Our Rabb, have mercy on us from yourself and guide us out of our ordeal. Now they were young men belonging to the elite class, and they were on Tawheed, and the Mushrik nation did not let them live by it. They decided to live by their belief and leave this place, seek refuge in a cave and see what could be done about it. And then they pray to Allah to show them a better way. Verse 11. So we put upon their ears a cover for a number of years in the cave. Allah put them to sleep, and their very sleep would become a proof of resurrection for the rest of the mankind. Verse 12. And then awaken them to find out which of the two parties could best tell the length of their stay. Verse 13. Now we tell you their real story. They were young men who believed in their Rabb, and on them we had bestowed our guidance. Why did Allah increase them in guidance? Because they practically demonstrated their belief and trust in Allah and tried to develop this bond with Allah constantly. They struggled for it. Verse 14. We put courage in their hearts when they stood up and declared, Our Rabb is the Rabb of the heavens and the earth. We shall never appeal to any other deity except him. Now we are told that there was a festival in which idols were worshipped, and all these young men who did not believe in this practice walked away from that place, and there they gathered and they became friends on the basis of their ideology. They made a place for their worship. And when the king got to know about this, he called them to his court to find out, and they invited the king to their faith as well. Verse 15. These people of ours have taken for worship other gods besides him. If they are right, why do they not bring forth any convincing proof of their divinity? Who is more wicked than the one who invents a lie about Allah? Now the king gave them a grace period that during this time, if they revert back to idol worship, they would be forgiven. Otherwise, they would be killed. So in order to save their deen, they left this place. 16. Then in their mutual consultation they said, now that we have withdrawn from them and denounced those deities whom they worship besides Allah, let us take refuge in some cave. Our Rabb will extend to us His mercy and facilitate us in disposing of our affairs. 17. If you could look at them in the cave, it would appear to you that the rising sun declines to the right of their caravan, and as it sets, passes them on the left, while they lay in an open space in between. This is from the signs of Allah. He whom Allah guides is rightly guided, but he whom He lets go astray, you will find no guardian to lead him to the right way. So Allah protected and preserved their sleep by not letting the sunlight disturb them, and this was the first, what we call, karamat of these people. Verse 18. If you could see them, you might have thought them awake. Though they were asleep, we turned them about to their right and left sides, while their dog lay stretched out with his forepaws at the entrance. Had you looked at them, you would have certainly turned your back, and their sight would have made you flee in terror. So this care and protection was granted to them. The sunlight did not disturb them. Their sides kept changing on a regular basis so that they don't get bed sores. The dog sat at the entrance to give them protection, and nothing in the nature harmed them in any way. Verse 19. In the same miraculous way, we woke them up from sleep so that they could question one another. One of them asked, how long have you been here? The others answered, maybe we have been here for a day or a part of a day. Finally, they concluded, our Rabb knows best how long we have stayed here. Anyhow, let one of us go to the city with this silver coin, and let him find who has the purest food and bring us something to eat. Let him behave with caution, and let him not disclose our whereabouts. Now finally they wake up after years, and nothing from their bodies or dress is worn out. They can't make out how much they have slept, and they ask one of them to get food from the market, and the one who is going, they tell him to make sure that the food is pure. This they said because animals were slaughtered in the name of idols at that time, which made the food impure or haram. 20. For if they find out, they will stone you to death or force you back into their faith, and in that case you will never attain felicity. Verse 21. Thus did we reveal their secret to the people so that they might know that the promise of Allah is true, and there is no doubt about the coming of the hour of judgment. They started arguing amongst themselves about the companion of the cave. Some said, erect a building over their remains. Their Rabb is quite aware of them. Those who finally prevailed over their matter said, let us erect a place of worship over them. Now the people realized by their language, their dress, their currency, that they belonged to a different era. And the main distortion in the beliefs of this nation was that they did not believe in resurrection. So when they realized what had happened, they too believed in the promise of Allah about resurrection. Now this man who had come to take food, he went back and they died a natural death. And the people decided to build a building over the place where they died. Verse 22. They were 3 and their dog was the 4th. The others will guess. They were 5 and their dog was the 6th. And there are still others who will say they were 7 and their dog was the 8th. Say, my Rabb alone knows their correct number. Therefore do not enter into discussion with them about their number except in a cursory way, nor ask anyone about the companions of the cave. Now this means that their number is not important, but the only important thing is in this story is the lesson that they teach us. So instead of focusing on the number, focus on the lesson. Verse 23, never say of anything, I will certainly do it tomorrow. Verse 24, without adding, if Allah wills. And if you forget to say this, then call your Rabb to mind and say, I hope that my Rabb shall guide me and bring me ever closer than this to the right way. 25, some say they stayed in their cave 300 years, and some added another 9. Again, this refers to the irrelevant debates people get into. 26, O Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, say Allah knows best how long they stayed. He is the one who knows the secrets of the heavens and the earth. Sharp is his sight and keen is his hearing. They have no protector besides him, and he does not let anyone share in his command. 27. O Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, recite what has been revealed to you from the book of your Rabb. No one is authorized to change his words, and if you dare to make any change, you will find no refuge to protect you from him. Verse 28, keep yourself content with those who call on their Rabb morning and evening, seeking his good pleasure, and let not your eyes turn away from them, desiring the attraction of worldly life, nor obey the one whose heart we have permitted to neglect our remembrance. Now the message in this verse is to be in the company of righteous people. Verse 29, this is the truth from your Rabb. Now let him who will believe in it and him who will deny it. As for those who reject it, for such wrongdoers we have prepared a fire, whose flames will hem them in like the walls of a tent. When they cry for help, they will be showered with water as hot as molten brass, which will burn their faces. What a dreadful drink and what a horrible residence. 30. As for those who believe and do good deeds, rest assured that we do not waste the reward of him. 31. They are the ones for whom there will be the gardens of Eden, beneath which rivers flow. They will be adorned there with bracelets of gold. They will wear green garments of fine silk and rich brocade, and they will recline on soft couches. What an excellent reward and what a beautiful residence. 32. O Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, give them this parable. Once there were two men. To one of them we had given 2 gardens of grapevines surrounded with palm trees and put between them land for cultivation. 33. Both of those gardens yielded abundant produce and did not fail to yield its best. We had even caused a river to flow between the 2 gardens. 34. He said to his companion while conversing with him, I am richer than you, and my clan is mightier than yours. 35. When having thus wronged his soul, he entered his garden and said, I don't think that this garden will ever perish, nor do I believe that the hour of judgment will ever come. Even if I am returned to my Rabb, I will surely find even a better place than this. Now, this person who owned this garden, he had 3 delusions. Number 1, that his wealth is going to last forever. Number 2, that the day of judgment will never come. And thirdly, the worst of all delusions, that he thought that because Allah had blessed him with wealth in this world, this guaranteed Allah's approval. Verse 37, his companion replied while still conversing with him, do you disbelieve in him who created you from dust, from a drop of semen, and fashioned you into a perfect man? 38. As for myself, Allah is the one who is my Rabb, and I do not associate anyone with him. 39. When you entered your garden, why did you not say, it is as Allah pleased? No one has power except Allah, though you see me poorer than yourself in wealth and children. So this teaches us that insha'Allah and masha'Allah, if they are comprehended in its true sense and said, then this becomes a mark of a moment. Insha'Allah, if Allah wills, and masha'Allah, it came from Allah and it can be taken away by Allah. I do not own it, Allah owns it. Verse 40, yet my Rabb may give me a garden better than yours and may send down thunderbolts from sky upon your garden, turning it into a barren wasteland. 41, or its water may dry out and you may never be able to find. 42, it so happened that all his fruit produce was destroyed and the vines tumbled down upon their trellises. So he wrung his hands with grief for all that he had spent on it. He cried, I wish I had not associated anyone with my Rabb. 43, he was so helpless that he could neither find anyone to help him besides Allah, nor could he himself avert that catastrophe. Verse 44, it was then that he realized that the real protection comes only from Allah. His is the best reward and his is the best requital. 45, O Prophet Sallallahu Alaihi Wasallam, give them the similitude of the life of this world, it is like the vegetation of the earth that flourishes with the rain from the sky, but afterwards the same vegetation turns into dry stubble which is blown away by the winds. Allah is the one who has power over everything. 46. Likewise, wealth and children are an attraction of this worldly life, yet honorable deeds that last forever are a best hope of salvation. Our wealth and children can be stepping stones for success or failure in the Akhirah. Wealth, if spent in the way of Allah or as Allah wants it, is success, and that spent in evil ways is failure. Children raised as good Muslims are a success, and those raised as evil people are a failure. And Baqiyatus Salihat are all the good deeds done with the true intention of pleasing Allah. 47. You should prepare for that day when we will set the mountains in motion, and you will see the earth as a barren waste, when we shall assemble mankind together, leaving not even a single soul behind. 48. They all will be brought before your Rabb, standing in rows, and Allah will say, well, you see that you have returned to us as we created you at first, even though you claim that we had not fixed any time for the fulfillment of this promise with us. 49. Then the book of their deeds will be placed before them. At that time you will see the sinners in great terror because of what is recorded therein. They will say, woe to us! What kind of a book is this? It leaves out nothing small or large. All is noted down. They will find all that they did recorded therein. Your Rabb will not be unjust to anyone in the least. 50. When we said to the angels, prostrate yourself before Adam, all prostrated themselves except Iblis, who was one of the jinns and chose to disobey the command of his Rabb. Would you then take him and his children as your protectors rather than me, even though they are your enemies? What a bad substitute the wrongdoers have chosen. 51. I did not call them to witness the creation of the heavens and the earth, nor their own creation, nor do I take those who lead mankind astray as my supporters. Allah says that why are people so impressed by the shaitan? What makes you think that he is powerful, whereas he did not even see the creation of the heavens and the earth, nor the creation of man, nor his own self? 52. On the day of judgment, Allah will say to them, call on those whom you thought to be my partners. They will call them, but will receive no answer, and we shall cause a barrier between them. 53. The criminals will see the fire and realize that they are going to fall into it, but will find no place to escape. 54. We have given all kinds of examples in this Quran to make the people understand this message, but man is exceedingly contentious. 55. Nothing can prevent men from believing and seeking the forgiveness of their Rabb now that guidance has come to them, unless they are waiting for the fate of former people to overtake them, or the scourge to be brought to them face to face. 56. We send the Rasuls only to proclaim good news and to give warnings, but with false arguments the unbelievers seek to defeat the truth through mocking at my revelations and my warnings. 57. Who is more unjust than the one who, when reminded of the revelations of his Rabb, turns away from them and forgets what his own hands have done? In regards to such people, we have cast veils over their hearts, so they do not understand this Quran and have become hard of hearing. Call them as you may towards the guidance, they will never be guided. Verse 58. Your Rabb is the most forgiving, the Lord of mercy. Had it been his will to seize them for their sins, he would have hastened their punishment. But for that there is an appointed time, after which they will not find any refuge. 59. All those nations whom we destroyed for their wrongdoings were given respite and an appointed time for their destruction. 60. Now tell them about one story of Khizr to whom Allah has given special knowledge. The Prophet Musa was asked to go to him and learn from him. When Musa set out to meet him at an appointed place, he said to his young servant, I will not give up my journey until I reach the junction of the two rivers, even if I have to spend ages in travel. Now the background is that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala inspired Musa alayhi salam that at the junction of the sea there is a slave from amongst my slaves who is more learned than you. And Musa alayhi salam said that, oh my Lord, how can I meet him? Allah said that take a fish in a basket and you will find him where you lose the fish. Musa alayhi salam set out with his servant Yusha bin Nun and carried a fish in a basket till they reached a rock where they laid their heads and slept. Now what happened? We are told in the next verse. Verse 61, it so happened that when at last they reached the junction of the two rivers, they forgot about the fish they were carrying, which made its way into the river and disappeared. Verse 62, when they had passed on some distance, Musa asked his young servant, let us have our breakfast. Really, we are worn out with this traveling. 63, he replied, you know, I forgot to tell you about the fish which made its way miraculously into the river when we were resting beside that rock. It was Shaitan who made me forget to mention this incident to you. 64, Musa alayhi salam said, this is the place we were looking for. So they went back, retracing their footsteps. Now this is really beautiful. This shows the beauty of the character of Musa alayhi salam, that he doesn't reprimand the servant. He doesn't shout at him that, you know, I told you to be careful and you forgot about it. And he just walks back to the place where he's supposed to go. Verse 65. There they found one of our servants, Khizr, whom we had blessed with special favor from ourselves and whom we had given special knowledge of our own. So who was Khizr alayhi salam? People argue about that. He was an angel, he was a prophet, he was this, he was that, but only Allah knows the reality of what he was. And we have been forbidden from getting into unnecessary debates about matters which Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has not revealed to us. Verse 66, Musa alayhi salam requested of him, may I follow you so that you may teach me from that true knowledge which you have been taught. Verse 67, he answered, surely you will not be able to bear with me. 68, for how can you have patience about that which is beyond your knowledge? 69, Musa alayhi salam said, if Allah wills, you shall find me patient and I shall not disobey you in any way. Verse 70, he said, if you want to follow me, then do not question me about anything until I tell you about it myself. 71, so they set forth, but when they embarked in a boat to cross the river, Khizr alayhi salam made a hole in it. Musa alayhi salam cried out, did you make a hole in it to drown its passengers? You have done a weird thing. 72, he said, didn't I say that you would not manage to have patience with me? 73, Musa said, pardon my forgetfulness. Do not be angry with me on account of this mistake. 74, so they journeyed on until they met a boy and Khizr alayhi salam slew him. Musa alayhi salam said, you have killed an innocent person. Though he had killed nobody, surely you have done a horrible deed. وآخر الدعوانا أن الحمد لله رب العالمين.